Hello and welcome. It is the 26th of May 2025, and we are starting on our reading again of chapter 24 of the David story. With me right now is Adel, and Colton was at his desk, but he stepped away, so he'll join us in a couple of minutes. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing well, thank God. Is Jonathan coming on, or he's busy
He's not
today?
going to be in this session as
Yeah.
he's gone to do something with his father, but he
Right.
might be able to join us for the second session for the grammar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Colton will stop. He'll step back in a few minutes, I hope. All right, so let's get into it. This is our Patreon, the patreon.com/the Hebrew Cafe, and our wonderful member supporters. Thank you guys very, very much. This makes my life so much easier, really. Mondays are first hour, what we're doing right now. 6 o'clock, we're going to do second hour, which is Shio's grammar. Today we're covering, I think, chapter 20. We're working on volitionals in Hebrew, which is always a great thing. Third hour is for patrons only. That's where we do a communicative hour, and whoever's on Patreon has the link and would be welcome to join us. And then on Thursday, we're going to do second and a half hour, which is our grammar homework. We're starting today 1 Samuel 24 in the list of chapters on David's life. Again, these are generally the stories that people tell about David. It doesn't cover every single thing that he did in every military incursion that he went on. So we've completed 1 Samuel 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 23. We're on 24 now, and you can see where we're going to go. Okay. Today we want to look at this interesting verb that's going to appear in our reading. It's the verb lehasech. Lehasech. The Hebrew Language Academy gives it also as possibility as lehasich, because this is hefil, lehasich. So lehasech and lehasich. The thing is, let's say hi to our live audience. Muriel says hi, Jason Colton and Adel. So hi,
Mario.
And Marcelo says, I'm finally able to catch the reading section. Yay, welcome. Great, good to have you guys. So the problem with this verb is that it only appears twice in the whole of the biblical text. So we could say that all of these forms are contrived, but they're not really. I mean, they build just like every other hefil verb with middle weak root. Middle weak meaning that it has vav or yod in the middle. What's interesting about this verb is that it's actually a secondary root, the samech vav kaf, from the root samech kaf kaf. So if you want to look up the root in halot, you're not going to look at the vav kaf, you're going to look at kaf kaf. I could show that to you real quick if you want to see. Just hold on. Okay. Then we're going to look for samech kaf kaf, and there are actually several of these. So we're going to go down actually to the third instance in this in the dictionary. That's samech kaf kaf, and it says medieval Hebrew piel poal hifil, to cover or to bedeck a roof with twigs or matting. This is because in the holiday of Sukkot, that is it's not Pentecost, it is Tabernacles, the Feast of Tabernacles from the Bible. The thing that you need to build, the tabernacle, you build a sukkah. Sukkah is the tabernacle. The thing that you put on the roof needs to be see-through. You need to be able to see through it to actually catch a view of the stars. That's according to the laws of Sukkot. And what you put on top of the roof is called schach. That's this word here, schach. So schach is like a dried, I don't even know what it's made of, but it's you just put it on the top of the sukkah so that you can see through it, but it also offers shade and protection. So the word that we're looking at is down here, the hifil, infinitive hasech, leasech, and the participle mesich from the root such. So such is derived, it's a derived root from schach. Okay, so it means to cover something with something else. Like in what we're going to read, it says to cover his feet, lasech et raglav, covering his feet with a garment, because it's not really the feet, it's really raglav is a euphemism for the private areas. To cover his private areas, meaning that he's going to the restroom. It's euphemistic for relieving himself. And so we're going to see in this story where Saul enters a cave in order to hide his private areas, right? He's gone into an area where people can't see him in order to use the restroom. Hello, Elena. Welcome. So you see here that this verb is only used twice in the Bible. It's used in our verse, 1 Samuel 24:4, and in Judges 3:24. Let's look at the Judges verse really quick in the Hebrew just to see exactly what it says. Hine daltot ha'aliyah ne'ulot vayumu ach mesichu et raglav. So ach, like this, he is certainly relieving himself in the room of the he's hiding it, he's relieving himself, like that's the idea. So these are the two verses where this is found, leasech et raglav and mesich et raglav. So from that we can actually understand how the entirety of the verb would look. It would look just like the verb lehavin, to understand. So we can say hevanti. Oh, I need to get on the other screen. Sorry. Hevanti. I understand. Okay, lavin. And so that's exactly this form, esachti, hevanti, esachti. And we also have the alternative for havinoti. Havinoti. Okay, so havinoti, that form can also be hasichoti. If this verb doesn't appear in all of these forms, but this is how it would look if it did. Hesich and esicha. Hesachti, esachta, esacht. Hesachnu, hasachtem, hasachten, and hesichu. Just like hivin. For all of these forms, there's alternative. For the first and second form, there's alternative with the O inserted. So hasichoti, hasichota, hasichot, hasichonu, hasichotem, hasichoten. So there's always that with middle week. The middle week, there's two alternative forms. There's the shorter one, which is the one we adopted in modern Hebrew. And there's the other one that has a longer form, like hakimoti. Hakimoti means I established or I caused to stand, which is also hekamti. Hekamti and hakimoti. These are the same word, just alternative forms. Hopefully that's something you saw in your grammar learning. So mesich is a form that appears in the Bible, and leasech. These are the two forms that appear in the Bible. So the continuation of the participle, mesicha, mesichi, mesichot. Okay. In the future, yasich, vehi tasich, ata tasich, at tasichi, va'ani asich. Anachnu nasich, atem tasichu, aten tasechna. It's really common for the middle E sound in these forms to, instead of saying tasichna, it becomes tasechna. Okay, that's the normal structure. But of course, these ones have an alternative form. They're really the same. These two are the same. So you can say tasechna or tisichena. These are alternative forms. I put one below the other just to indicate the alternative. Tasechna or tisichena. Like tavena or tivinena. Tivinena, you or they will understand. And yasichu. Okay. There is a connection to this noun, masach. Masach is a screen or a cover. It is used for in the movie theater. You project a movie onto a screen, masach. It's also used for your computer. Yeah, your computer screen is masach. So I'm sure that that's related. It's from the same root. And what else can we say about that? What do you guys think? Is it useful to go over the forms of a verb that doesn't really appear much in the Bible? I mean, it appears only twice, but I think that opening it up and doing this gives us a broader picture of the word and will help us
I
to
agree.
recognize it better when we run
I
into
agree.
it.
It's a good idea.
It's not hapax, which is one time. It's what's it? Deepaks? How do you say twice?
I guess so. Deep box.
Dis.
These box. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Again,
Anyway.
it's like you said. Like it's just based on compositionality. Like it's like every other verb that's middle weak, right? Like it.
Mm-hmm.
And so like we can know stuff based on the way that we know verbs work. There's nothing wrong with it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Leasech has an alternative infinitive also because we have wider Hebrew a Hebrew body of literature that's much wider than just the Bible, because Hebrew continued to be used, and it was the basis for it's the language for the Mishnah and for the Tosefta. It's used throughout all the way through the Middle Ages. They write in Hebrew, in ethical tractates and everything, and legal codes. So the verb is used outside of the Bible. So it's not that we don't know the forms that it came in. It's just in the Bible we only have it used twice. And so anyway, the infinitive can appear either as lasech, like it is in the Bible, or as lasich, which is the normal Hifil form, like lehavin, to understand. So if you look on the Academy of the Hebrew Languages website, it will give you both lasech and lasich. All right, let's get into our reading. We are going into verse 1 of chapter 24. Yelena, would you like to be the first one to read today? Are you ready? You don't have to.
Why not?
All right.
Okay. ויהי כאשר שב שאול מאחרי פלישתים, ויגידו לו לאמור, הנה דוד במדבר in Gedi. So and it was that Saul rose.
Not rose.
Returned.
Yeah.
Returned.
Yeah, so this is the word when.
Okay, when. It was when Shaul returned from the Palestinians.
Oh, not Palestinians. Philistines. What does it mean, me'acharei ha-plishtim, or me'acharei plishtim? He returned from behind them, or from after them.
From after them.
What does it mean?
Okay, when he returned from following the Palestinians.
Yeah, from following them, from chasing them. Probably he was chasing them. Who Radaf acharei plishtim. He caught them and killed them, and now he's coming back.
Okay. Oh, he returned from chasing the Palestinians.
Not Palestine. Palestine wasn't a name. at that time.
Okay.
It's the Philistines.
Philistines. Philistine. Yeah.
Philistines.
Philistines.
Remember, the Philistines were not, as far as we know, a Canaanite people. They came from the sea. They were an invasive group that came from the sea and started conquering areas in Canaan, and became an enemy of the Israelites.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So and they told him
And him is
law.
who did they tell?
Shaul.
Shaul. Mhm.
Yeah. Shaul. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And they told him while saying or okay. What am I?
Nay.
See, behold, David is in the um, um, wilderness, uh, wilderness in Gedi.
Wilderness of En Gedi. Who told Saul? It says, "Vayegidu lo lemor."
They,
They told him. Who is they?
some Anashim.
Yeah, random people.
Mhm.
Random people that were there that had heard rumors. So it's if the subject is unclear. Normally in English we kind of go more for a passive,
Yeah, and he
like
was
it
told.
was said to him or he was told. Yeah, good. Good. Verse 2. Who wants to go number 2?
Go in sequence of names. Just a Colton go.
That'll work for me.
All right.
ויקח שאול 3,000 איש בחור מכל ישראל, וילך לבקש את דוד ואנשיו על פני צורי היעלים. Yeah. Saul took 3,000 choice men from all of Israel, and he went to find David and his men.
To look for him, right?
Yeah, until the at the rocks of the, what do we say these were? Goats of some kind?
Yeah, mountain goats.
Mountain goats. At the cliffs of the mountain goats.
Yeah. Maybe like along the cliffs, like it says Alpine, like on the face, on the surface of the cliffs. Okay. Ish Bachur. Normally, Bachur is by itself just meaning a young man, but in this case, it is
Handpicked.
a call passive participle, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Meaning chosen. Like these are ones that these are like good fighters. These are ones that are chosen. Good. Very nice. All right, number 3.
ויבוא אל גדרות הצאן על הדרך, ושם מערה, ויבוא שאול להסך את רגליו, ודוד ואנשיו בירכתי המערה יושבים. And he went to Gedrot Hatzon. It's a place.
So what? So if Vayelech is he went, Vayavo is he generally
entered.
he came.
Right? He came. Okay. Yeah, I'm
He
sorry.
came or he entered. Mhm.
So Gedrot means containment or wall, right? Or
Normally fences.
fences. Yeah, of young cattle. But I think it's a name of a place. I would imagine, right? It
Gedrot
can
Hatzon.
translate, right?
It's probably
Right.
where they had sheep.
Sheep, something
and
like that.
then
Mm-hmm.
the sheepfolds.
In a way, and there is a cave, and and Shaul entered to relieve himself, and David and his men in the innermost part of the cave, they are dwelling, or they are sitting or hiding, right?
Le'asech et raglav. This is our expression, to
Mhm.
cover his feet. Interestingly, I don't know if you're aware of the scene of Isaiah's call in chapter 6. Isaiah. We were supposed to get into Isaiah, remember, and we didn't do
Mhm.
it.
We should do it actually.
So,
It's interesting.
yeah, so verse 2 says, Srafim omdim mima'alo, like above him, shesh knafayim le'echad.
Yeah.
בשתיים יכסה פניו, ובשתיים יכסה רגליו, ובשתיים יעופף. So Safim, these creatures, are standing above him, 6 wings to a heart, to one, meaning that each one had 6 wings. 6 wings to one, each one. So with 2, that's with 2 wings, he would cover his face, or it would cover its face. And with 2, it would cover its feet. And with 2, it would fly. So most interpreters today say it's not that they were covering their face and covering their feet, but these are creatures. They're not wearing clothes probably. And so with 2 of the wings, he would use 2 of the wings to cover his private area. So raglav, his feet, is a euphemism for his private area, just as we see here, where le'asech et raglav, to cover his feet, doesn't really mean his feet. There's another instance, I was telling Colton earlier, that in Jewish religious literature, they generally try to avoid words that are less respectable in religious, literature, like codifications of the law and stuff. So I was telling Colton, here, I'll show you real quick. Just a minute. That, that's not me. This is me here. So this is what you would call mouthwash in English. In Hebrew, this is called the mepeh. Unfortunately, it doesn't show the Hebrew here, but people call it mepeh. Which is water of mouth. So to be euphemistic about the water that comes out from the other place that needs to go into, the garbage or whatever, they call it meraglaim, water of feet. Meraglaim. That's the term that's used in religious texts, instead of the actual word in Hebrew, which is sheten. Sheten is the word for urine. So if you need to go to the doctor and they need to do a urine test, they do bdikat sheten. And that's also an old word. You'll see it in the Bible where it talks about how they chose men who urinated on the wall. You remember this, Colton?
Those that pisseth against the wall, as some might say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and the word that's used there is mashtinim. Mashtinim is they produce sheten. So this is an old word. It's not something that we made up in modern Hebrew. All right, in the next verse, has a ktiv kri. So I put it in the margin. This is the kri. This is what we're supposed to read instead of what's written, the ktiv. So we'll look at that in a second. Vayomru anshe David. Notice that anshe is the construct, but once you put, because the stress is over here, but once you put an ending on it, like his, av, okay, suddenly the stress is here, so this syllable is not reduced, and it's anashav. Anashav, not anshav, but anashav. It would be the tendency to read it as anshav, but that's a mistake. So, vayomru anshe David elav, they said to him, hine, hayom asher amar Adonai elecha. Okay, behold, it's the day that the Lord said to you, hine anochi noten et oyivcha biyadecha, ve'asita lo kasher hitav be'enecha. Okay, so they're now putting words into God's mouth that we haven't seen before. But they say, behold, the day which the Lord said to you, behold, I am about to put your enemy, oivcha, not oivecha, which is what's written here. This means enemies. This is plural, but this is singular because it's his enemy. The only real enemy that he has is Saul, the one who keeps chasing him and trying to kill him. So, behold, I will put your enemy in your hand, and you shall do to him as is good in your eyes. Right? So you'll do to him whatever you think is right or fitting. Vayakom David, vayichrot et knaf ham'il asher l'Shaul balat. Right? So it says that David got up and he cut the hem of the jacket or the robe of Saul secretly. He did it secretly, like he got up and he went over and snuck over and cut, like Saul had taken his jacket off or his robe and put it down so that he could relieve himself, and David was snuck over and he cut off the corner of it. The corner of the garment, but without Saul knowing. So this has a couple of interesting things besides the Ktiv Kari. First of all, when it says Hine Anochi Noten, it doesn't mean I'm doing it right now. Normally, Hine with the participle, the present participle, there's no past participle. Hine with the participle generally means I'm about to do something. So we can bring that sense into it. Another thing is the presence of the dagesh in that lamed. Normally we would not expect that, but there's an interesting point of grammar when the stress is here and the end of the word is then the following like monosyllabic preposition will take a dagesh. This dagesh is called dagesh conjunctivum, and I pulled up the section in Gesenius. If anybody's interested and wants to read it, it is here, section 20.f.2 or 20.f. Just go Gesenius 20.f. He says, in the first letter of a monosyllable, or of a word with the tone on the first syllable after a closely connected mil'el ending in a or e. Such a mil'el is called by the Jewish grammarians ate merachik in Arabic, which is ote merachok in Hebrew, or in Latin, veniens elonginquo, meaning coming from far away in respect of tone. A bunch of stupid words. The attraction of the following tone syllable by dagesh forte conjunctivum is here also due to the existences of rhythm. Okay, so it doesn't have any grammatical sense. It's about the pronunciation. So Shavita Shevi in Psalm 68:19. Hoshiyana with the dagesh in the nun. Okay, so you can look up this section of the grammar if you want to go into that, but it's not something very important. I just thought I'd point it out, and it also appears in the next verse. Anything you guys would like to add? How about the word kanaf used for a garment? Can you think of any other verses in the Bible that have the word kanaf, which means wing, that's used of a garment? Like it's
Ruth, isn't it Ruth when she got close to?
I believe so. Where she went and she lay down with him and covered herself up with the knot of his garment.
Mm-hmm.
Is it in Isaiah as well? Maybe the Suffering Servant songs, one of them.
Suffering Servant, I don't recall. But the laws about putting strings, the strings on your four-cornered garments, it says al knaf til techelet. It says like a light blue string needs to be also on it. Michael made a comment. He said, "Hi everyone, had open heart surgery last Monday, so now I can participate live and not have to work." Well, I guess there are silver linings to every cloud. So welcome, Michael. It's nice to see you. So that's one where you put them on the corner of the garments, the strings called tzitzit. What's interesting about what Adel mentioned is whenever it specifically says at his feet. So some people ask if maybe feet there is also a euphemism for private parts. Like maybe it's not that she's really at his feet, but she's offering herself to him sexually as a wife, So that's another interesting thing. But can you pull it up maybe in the Isaiah servant stories where it might be there, Knaf?
I'm looking. I think I just had the wrong book. I'm looking for the verse I was talking about, though.
Yeah. So if it's there, then very cool. So we're back to Elena for verse 5. I think there's a lot of things to pull up from this chapter, so this is fun.
If I go back to that verse, Jason, I still cannot get over the statement that the man has made, as if they made a statement like of prophecy that never happened. Like, I mean, it's not like little bit God had given it to you. That he made a long statement as if God said that, which maybe I need a reading more into it, but it's a long statement that sounds prophetic, but it's wrong. Like they pull that from thin air in a way. Does that say anything about?
I might argue that all prophecy is pulled out of thin air.
Okay, well,
there are people alive today who claim to be prophesying in the name of God, and they're just making things up. And I think that at that time, especially, people were very fond of putting words into the mouth of not just the God of Israel, but any God. And I don't think that they had any compunction against it. They didn't feel guilty for saying the gods have said blah blah blah. Like they just make things up, and so I don't think anybody would have a problem with that.
Okay,
that's my opinion, but I don't really believe in prophecy. So, Elena, are you ready to read verse 5?
Conversation.
Right, we're all in different places. verse 5, Elena.
ויהי אחריהן ויחלף דוד אותו על אשר כרת את פניו אשר לשאול. And it was after that David's heart was not in place. Okay, so David's heart.
Well, literally, his heart is the subject of the verb vayach.
Smote him.
It's like his heart killed him. His heart smote him.
Yeah, so
that's a way of saying that he felt really guilty, right?
Upon the fact that he cut a piece of the corner of the garment that belonged to Shaul.
Yes, great. There's something I didn't mention in my verse that's repeated in this one. Asher le Shaul and Asher le Shaul. This Asher, remember that Asher can be shortened as She, right? And that She is followed with Dagesh, and it means the same thing, which. Asher le, which is two, becomes Shel. Shel. Okay, we are in verse 5. I want to skip to the end of the projection at the beginning. I use it right here. Kriyat Sipuro, his story. Asher le David Hamelech. That belongs to. So reading his story of David the king. Okay, reading David's story. Okay, so she le as of appears in the Bible in I think the Song of Songs. Yes, the Song of Songs. Shel Shlomo, whatever. That belongs to Solomon. So in modern Hebrew, we just take shel, and we make it the word of. So we use shel all the time for of, and it comes from Hebrew, asher le. So when it says kanaf asher le Shaul, the corner of the garment of Saul, and here the corner of the robe of Saul. That's all that means, is of Saul, right? So this is how we got from the biblical form asher le Shaul to modern Hebrew shel Shaul, which it means the same thing. Just so you know, for anybody who's interested. And I think we could use shel in biblical Hebrew when we're speaking and playing around, just for fun. Okay, anyway. Anything you want to point out from that? I do want to point out. We could, in Hebrew, do without vayehi, and instead make this the hika. Hika would be the preterite form, right? Perfect. Acharei chen hika lev David oto. We don't have to establish this in a vav consecutive, but if you want vav consecutive, it's best to insert vayehi to establish the time period, and then another vav consecutive after it. And it happened afterwards that the heart of David struck him. Okay, that's how we normally deal with that grammatically. Anything you want to throw out?
No, I just want to say that I was thinking of a verse in Micah 4 where it says healing is in his wings.
Yeah,
And
the
that meaning-
sun. The sun
the
would rise
sun.
with healing in its wings.
Right, which I think would mean more of like I think it's actually better is like thinking of it as a garment, like the rays of the sunshine. It's still very metaphorical and it could probably be taken either way, but that is the verse I was thinking of, and it's in Malachi. My bad.
Nice. The sun of righteousness will arise and with healing in its wings. That's nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Umarfe be kaneha, kanfeha, whatever it is, something like that.
And kanfea is feminine because shemesh is normally feminine in Hebrew. So. Great. Anything else from verse 5? What about this? Tarat et kanaf asher l'Shaul.
Yeah.
I think it's probably thinking et knafo, his corner. Et knafo, or it's thinking that kanaf as a short form of knaf ha'me'il. Kanaf ha'me'il. So it's already determined here. It's already what's the word?
Yeah.
Definite.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it's bringing it up again, it's referring to it as if it were definite, even though it's missing something.
Yeah. So like, right. Yeah. So again, like a way to think about definiteness and what the definite marker does, it's just an example of it's a determiner. And so it is trying to tell us we have a different way of telling us which specific kanaf we're talking about. In this case, it just uses a relative clause, but there's no debating which one it is. It is, in fact, still determined. We just have a different mode of doing it. And that's why you can have names can take direct object markers sometimes, and that kind of thing. So, and you can...
well, et appears with indefinite objects sometimes.
Yeah.
And et appears sometimes even with a subject. Et is a very tricky thing.
Yeah.
We tell ourselves in simple grammar that it marks the definite direct object, but sometimes it acts otherwise. Sometimes it is trying to draw a topic, like focus.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I got a question. I thought Asher LeShaul would make it determine, not indefinite, but definite.
Because Asher,
Defines Asher LeShaul, it defines, right?
interestingly enough, like if we often see like the word instead of here we see makom, and when makom it comes before Asher, many times it's mekom, as if it were construct. So you could do a place of where blah blah blah. I wonder if we should read this also as a construct. Naf Asher Shaul.
Mhm.
Maybe a wing,
Yeah.
like
The
a wing.
disjunctive accent makes that not typical though. Because look, you have a disjunctive on the kanaf.
Is the
Yeah.
mincha.
Yeah. And so that's how I
Oh,
would.
tikva, excuse me.
Yeah.
So this is standard structure for after a major disjunction, like the
Yeah.
zakef katon. Toward the end of the verse, you're going to see tipcha mercha sof pasuk. This is like the standard ending of a verse. So this is minor disjunctive, so it wouldn't be connected necessarily. Good idea. All right. Colton, I think you're number 6.
ויאמר לאנשיו חלילה לי מאדוני, it's interesting, אם אעשה
So
הדבר
this represents the chataf patach. So it's me Adonai, like it doesn't join together.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Okay. מי אדוני, אם אעשה את הדבר הזה, לאדוני,
Yeah, it's a ladoni. But why is this? Because the aleph is quiescent.
Yeah. לאדוני למשיח אדוני, לשלוח ידי בו, כי משיח אדוני הוא. Wow. A lot of Adonai and Adonai in there. A lot of shalamas in there too. And he said to his men, Khalila, a curse. I'm cursed by the Lord.
Khalila is normally used like may it not be, like God forbid.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So may it not be
why I thought that
from God.
Yeah.
Because lechalel is to profane.
Yeah.
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 Khalila li me Adonai. Like God forbid.
Yeah. Right.
Khalila li me Adonai.
Yeah. If I should do this thing to my Lord, my like earthly master, to the anointed of the Lord.
So I guess you could think it like that.
Yeah.
It could be like that. Like
that's how
it's for me from the Lord if I do this.
Yeah.
But
that's how I've always understood it.
Khalila is paired oftentimes with the nouns chas or with shalom.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly chas comes between. So chas v'chalila or chalila v'chas, chas v'shalom. All of these combinations mean the same thing. They mean God forbid. But I think it probably is that it's God forbid because he's going to curse me if I do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To my Lord, the Lord's anointed, to send my hand against him, for he is
Which
the
means
Lord's anointed.
to send my hand against him means
to kill him.
Yeah, to kill him.
For he
because
is,
he is,
the Lord's anointed.
Yeah, he's the Messiah. King Saul is the Messiah of God.
Oh yeah, it does change it there. Indeed.
Yeah. So this word Mashiach normally refers to the king or to the priest.
Isn't
And
isn't
it
it just
doesn't have
the anointed, isn't it? So the proper
Yeah.
translation is anointed.
Mhm, mhm. The problem is that the word Mashiach is never used in the Bible to refer to the end time Davidic king.
Mhm,
It's
mhm.
just because it refers to the king and who is anointed, and then like the Jews who talk about the end of the world talk about a new king who will come in that anointing, and so he is called Hamelech Hamashiach, which we haven't had in a very long time. So it's the anointed king, Hamelech Hamashiach.
Mhm.
And so it became an expression. There is one prophecy in the book of Daniel that uses the word Mashiach that I would argue also doesn't mean the anointed king at the end of the world. Anyway,
Our
verse
archival Bob says local oily lad.
local oily lad, oily because he's got oil poured over his head. Some cultures use oil on the body in ways that we just don't. I think in Turkey, they have like a yearly wrestling festival where the guys have olive oil poured all over their body, so they're all greasy and slippery, and they try to overpower one another. Have you seen that?
No,
I'd
but when
only
we were
see it.
kids, we would put soap on the floor and do the same thing, like soap on the ground, like do the
And you'd
same
wrestle,
thing. Well, like
try to overcome each other.
like tag, like try to chase each other, slip sliding, falling around, like on a tarp or something. Like it just when we were we were kids at the time, but yeah.
Archival Bob says, if I remember correctly, the Greeks or Romans were big on rubbing olive oil, weren't they?
Yeah.
I assume you mean like rubbing it on their bodies. It is a healthy thing. It's not unhealthy.
Yeah, a lot of times it was done to like keep like as like a protectant, like from like the elements kind of thing, like bugs and stuff. It'd keep bugs.
It's
and
probably bad for some elements because if you rub olive oil on your body and you go out in the sun, you're going to
stuff.
bake.
I'm just thinking like
But I imagine it would be good for a battle. You rub oil on your body, and then when somebody hits you, they could slide off instead of It could be good. You could imagine good things.
Yeah.
And also it softens the skin, for afterwards, so you feel nice and olivey. Yes. I was outside today, so I put sunblock on, which is the spray, and I was all oily, which was nice. All right. Verse 7. We didn't get to 7 in our preparation.
No problem. וישסע דוד את אנשיו בדברים ולא נתנם לקום אל שאול. ושאול קם מהמרעה וילך בדרך. שסע, is it skin an animal shasa or I don't know what shasa means. I thought skin an animal shasa. Right?
It's a verb, right? It's PL.
I'm not sure that means shasa David et anshav.
Et anashav badvarim. Probably he divided them up, like he gave them orders, like you do this and you do that.
Is it? I thought shasa means like you skin an animal. That's what I thought. I can't remember where I read it.
To divide it, to tear it into pieces. So in the PL, right? Shisa, Vaishasa, with accusative, and bet, to tear a bird apart in Leviticus 1. Mm-hmm. With the accusative, to tear a lion to pieces in Judges 14:6. 1 Samuel 24:8, which is our verse, it's uncertain how this passage should be understood. The versions differ. The Septuagint says, Episen David tus andras autu en logos, which is like he I guess he divided them up in words. Similarly, the Targum, and David Payes calmed the men with words. Okay. And David confregit, broke them into pieces. with words. And the Peshitta, whatever that is, he led the men on with words. Of modern suggested there are those that A, follow the Vulgate and Peshitta to lead on with chiding words. And he gives references. The latter translates translates to reprimand sharply or to rebuke. David completely restrained their enthusiasm because they had encouraged him to kill him. This is the day that God has put your enemy into your hand. Go kill him. And so he chided them, or he divided them up with words, meaning that he tore them to pieces with what he said to them.
Maybe argued with them. It seemed like it. I don't know. So whatever that word, David eten shav b'devarim, in words, and he did not velo natnam. He did not permit them, or did not give them.
Lo netanam lakum.
Netanam lakum el Shaul, and he did not
allow them
to go against, rise against Shaul. And Shaul Kam is a Kam, not Komra, Kam. He went from the cave, and he went in the way, or in the.
So he continued on. Vayelech b'darech, and he went on the road. He continued his journey. So he rose up from the cave, like he came out of the cave, and went on his way. All right, great. Netanam latet normally is to put or to give, but it can also be when noten le somebody laasot, you allow them to do, or you permit them to do something. Brilliant. Verse 8, let's come back, and that would be me. This is probably as far as we're going to get, because we're at 5:53. And I got the second verse also with Ketiv Kri. All right. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but the versification, if you're following along in your own Hebrew Bible, may be different. This text is taken from Mechon Mamre, and the numbering is different in the BHS. One verse off. So Vayakom David Achreichen, Vayitze min ha. Okay, this min ha me'ara. They say that we should just read it together as me ha me'ara. I don't really see why they would make a big difference of that. Why not just put makaf and make it min ha me'ara? Like, what's the problem with just reading it as it exists? Why Ketiv Kri? I don't know. ויקרא אחרי שאול לאמור אדוני המלך ויבט שאול אחריו ויקוד דוד אפים ארצה וישתחו. Okay. This vayikod is always, every time that it appears in the Bible, it's paired with vayishtachu. Vayikod vayishtachu. He bowed down and he bowed down. I don't know why they're paired together, but Vayikod means he bowed down, he bowed, and Vayishtachu also means he bowed down. So, but they're paired together.
Let's use all of them. Kra. Let's kra beberek. Let's use all the valid words.
Right. Let's he bent his knee and he bowed and he bowed.
Yeah, and he continued to bow.
This bowing in modern Hebrew, this bowing is related to the curtsy that a woman does, like she, goes down like this.
How often do women curtsy in modern Jewish culture? I guess
it's not very common, right? But here it can't be a curtsy because it's with his face to the ground, or his nose, his nostrils to the ground.
Has Vayikod used without Vayishtach or Vayishtach before, just in itself and on?
I've never heard of Vayikod in the Bible being used without Lishtach.
Okay, I'm just asking. I don't know, obviously. But,
yeah, it's always paired with it, as far as I know. We can look it up, but let's look it up real quick.
Sorry about that. I just was wondering.
Search. We'll do search and we will look for kud. I think it's kud. No. No, turn to Hebrew already. Why is it not? Is it kud? That's the root, right? Lakud.
I would think so. Maybe it's kadad.
I mean, there. Maybe.
Is it?
But there's
Kadad?
a dagesh in the kuf.
Yeah,
It's-
sometimes in
Yeah,
the
kadad.
Geminate it switches to the first one in the Vayikol. It's weird. Yeah.
Okay,
There it
so
is.
here, vayikod vayishtachu, va'ekod vayishtachave,
Ishtacha.
vayikdu vayishtachavu,
Sure.
vayikdu vayishtachavu. I don't think it appears alone. Vayikod ha'am vayishtachavu, vayikod arza vayishtachu,
Good, I've learned something.
vayikod vayishtachu, vayikod David apayim arza vayishtachu, vayikod apayim arza vayishtachu, ותיקוד בת שבע ותשתחו, ותיקוד בת שבע אפיים ארץ ותשתחו, ותיקדו, ויקדו וישתחוו, ויקדו, it's like every time that you have, so ויקוד יהושפט אפיים ארצה וכל יהודה ויושבי ירושלים נפלו לפניהם להשתחוות. Look how it's delayed all the way to the end of that verse.
So it's almost a pair.
Vayikod is
Like,
Yeah. No, lishtachavot can appear by itself. Like this one,
yeah, that
lishtachava
does.
can appear by itself, but this kadad, this vayikod is always used with.
Yeah, it's characteristic like verb frame language, like verb framing language. And what I mean by that is like languages can either be like verb framed or like satellite framed, right? Where the verb frame means that you have a verb, particularly this happens in Hebrew with verbs of motion, right? Like he went in. You can't just say like, you won't find it like David danced into the city. You'll find David went dancing into the city, or like you'll find the action and the manner in which the action happens together. And so to me, it seems like yikod rather is the manner where you can find the actions. Vayishtachav, vayishtachu. Maybe that's the manner. I don't know. Like I need to look at it more, but it seems like it's definitely one of those things where like one of them, Yikod requires it be in this pair, while maybe Hishtachavu doesn't, because it's more specific in the manner in which it happens.
I got a question.
That's stuff I'd have to like study out today, but it's the first thing that came to my mind.
I got a question. Why do you translate both of them as bow down? One is bow down, the other one is prostrate himself, right? So it is totally not bow down. It is stretching on the ground. You know, if I bow down and then it is stretching on the ground. So it is.
You take Yishtachava is like laying down on your belly on the ground.
Yes, it's how they did. They did like this. So they bowed down and then they got on the knee and stretched on the ground with the face down.
Wow.
That's what Ishtachavu. That's Ishtachavu. That's what Ishtachavu is. Prostrate himself. So it's just total annihilation of yourself, over there. So in front of the king or God.
So probably the Vayikod is just putting your face down.
The face down, and then
your nose toward the ground, and then after that is followed by getting down on your belly.
Yes, totally. Yes. So that.
Notice also that Vayikod, that we saw all of the examples of it just now, they are always in the Vayiktol. Like we don't have examples of the other forms in the Bible. Anyway, so David got up afterwards, and he went out, or he left the cave, and he called after Saul. And he's saying, "My lord the king, Adoni HaMelech." And Saul looked back after him, he looked behind him, And David bowed his face to the ground, his nose to the ground, and he prostrated himself. This is right. So great, brilliant. We will start with verse 9 next week. How you guys feeling? I thought that was some good reading.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, but we are a minute late for grammar, so we're gonna switch over there. See you guys in a
All right.
minute. Thanks
All right.
so much. Did we miss anything real quick? Archival Bob says, Vayakom livroch mipnei Adonai. He got up to flee away from God's presence. Just thinking of how you'll often have what Colton talked about with some generic verb. Yes. He got up and to flee. Great, exactly. All right, guys, we will see you in the next
All
session.
right.
There was something
Thank you.